Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Trends Tech. And today I'm going to be telling you guys about my first 24 hours with the Galaxy Z Fold 5. So, pretty much my experience so far has been good. I really haven't looked at the Z Fold and said, oh my goodness, there's something wrong with it. It's been a good experience. I actually like opening and using the inner display on this phone. And I think I said this yesterday, maybe I said it in a tweet, but I have to give thanks to the Pixel Fold. I really was on the fence about foldables and whether I was going to get a fold or not get one or how I was going to feel about it. And actually using the fold, living with the fold, made me appreciate the Z Fold 5 and the stuff that I like about it. There's stuff I still like about the Pixel Fold, but really it's what opened the door for the Z Fold 5 for me. But one of the things I noticed when I was using the Fold, and I hate to say it, but it's just something I noticed, is when you go to a Z Fold 5, the bezels are a lot smaller. You have more screen real estate, and it just looks a little bit cleaner. So the other thing that I've been noticing is the software. The software feels very polished, very well put together. I really haven't run into any issues where I open up the phone and have any sort of software issues whatsoever. Everything looks cool. I got, Twitter on here and I'm able to make posts and it takes up like the whole screen or whatnot. And I know that was a little bit of an issue with the Pixel Fold, but on my Z Fold, no matter what orientation I have it in, it is good to go. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is usually the biggest thing, the cover display. The cover display for me is something that honestly, I understand where people are coming from when they say, yo, the cover screen is too narrow. I would want it to be a little bit wider. And how I feel about the cover screen after just 24 hours is that I'm getting used to it. Like it's something that you have to adjust to. But I have two feelings. The first feeling is that I wish it was a little wider, but not as wide as the Pixel Fold. And that's just me personally. So if they made it like, I guess like another 4 millimeters wider, then it would be better. But if it had more of like I guess, I don't know, like just a different aspect ratio to it to where you could keep this height, but just make it a little bit wider, I would be cool with that. I would have no issues with that whatsoever. I also understand that there's people out there that actually like this aspect ratio. So this may be something that works for you. And like I said, I'm getting used to it, but that's just how I feel about it. The other thing that I'm kind of feeling about it, at least as far as the cover display goes, is that it's good. Okay. Like, you got the brightness, you got the responsiveness, you got the 120 hertz and all that stuff. It's good, but there's no S Pen support on the front. I don't have an S Pen to use with this. I don't know if I'm going to get an S Pen, but it would, at some point, I think it would make sense just to go ahead and put S Pen support on there, just so you could use the S Pen on the inner display and the outer display. For some people, that may be something that you just say, I don't care about, but this 24 hours later, this is just how I feel about it. And that's the way I'm looking at it. The other thing about the phone that I've really, really, really liked, and I think this is a feature that people are glossing over because a lot of people are really in their feelings about this phone not being a massive upgrade from last year's device, is the cover. I mean, not the cover screen, but the inner screen. Like the inner screen and it having 1750 nits is pretty dope. Now, it doesn't sound like it's a crazy amount or anything to, go run home about. But once you take this phone outside and you use it in direct sunlight, it is great in direct sunlight. I made a video before talking about the Pixel Fold and how it performed in direct sunlight and how I had to angle it at certain angles to be able to see it. Pretty much with this display, I can see it outside, no problem. Now, right now, I have this set to 50% because I'm indoors. But if I were to take this and turn it all the way up, it gets ridiculously bright. So let's just go ahead and do that here. So yeah, now it's bright, bright. Like before, you guys could see the screen. Now, because of the camera settings and everything, this is supposed to be all purple. It's going beyond that. And that's the 1750 nits. So I think that is a decent upgrade, especially if you're coming from a Fold 2, a Fold 3, even a Fold 4. In my opinion, that is one of the selling points of this is that screen. So if you're somebody who cares about that, Z Fold 5 would work for you. If not, stay with the Z Fold 4. Also talking about features and I guess like comparison between the Z Fold 4 and the Z Fold 5 is the fact that a lot of people are saying it's the same old phone from last year. It's not the same phone. There are some differences in it. A lot of stuff is similar, but there are some differences. And that difference is going to come with this hinge. Now, right now I have a case on here and I'm going to talk about the case in a minute, but if we just take this case off real quick, just so I can show everybody this. This hinge is smaller than what it was last year. It's not as thick and the phone isn't as heavy. And the phone itself is smaller than it was last year. What was one of the biggest complaints that a lot of people had last year? What was the one thing that we all heard about? It was the fact that it still had a gap. That gap just triggered so many people. It made so many people upset. And they were like, get rid of the gap, get rid of the gap, get rid of the gap. Okay, Samsung finally got rid of this gap. You now have it where the phone can close all the way closed. Really no gap in there, at least as far as I can see. The hinge is smaller. And people are still complaining that it's the same phone from last year. So I don't know exactly what people are looking for when it comes to that, but there is a difference. And it may not be a big enough difference for you to upgrade. And if that's the case, hey, go ahead and wait for the Z Fold 6 or wait for the Z Fold 7 or whichever one may make you happy. But that is something that is noticeable. And honestly, it's one of the things that really has attracted me to this phone. I really didn't think it was going to be that much of a big deal, but now that I have it in my hands and I'm using it, I'm like, yo, this is dope. Like, I feel like I can actually use this without a case if I didn't want to. Also, I still am liking this blue color and I'm still loving the matte finish on the phone because one of the issues I have with carrying any of these devices without a case is the fact that they all have glossy, pretty sides, like they're mirror finishes and stuff. And so anytime your hand may get sweaty or any sort of moisture on it, it feels like the phone is going to slip out of your hands. At least with the matte sides and the matte back and everything, it doesn't feel like this thing's just going to just shoot out of my hands. So feeling pretty good about it. I enjoy it. And that's just one of the other things about it. Now, there's been some other features as far as this taskbar on here that a lot of people have been talking about. And the fact that you can see a lot of your recent apps down here at the bottom. So I did switch the settings to where you could see from 2 recent apps to 4 recent apps. And it just gives you more functionality, which is dope. I mean, if you're going to be paying all that money, you should have all the functionality and you should get more out of the phone itself. I don't know if that's something that's supposed to come back to the Fold 4 or if Samsung's just going to, keep it locked to the Fold 5. I hope they would bring it to the Fold 4, but we got to see. Now, to talk about this case real quick, one of the concerns that a lot of people have is cases on foldables. And with the Z Fold 5, most of the time, you're going to have cases that you're going to have to put adhesive on here. You're going to have the front cover with adhesive, it's usually going to be a very, very small bezel. Or you have to get a very, very large, thick case that's all together. And a lot of people don't really like thick cases. So I went on Amazon and I was like, look, I'm going to find me a case that I can put on here that I don't need adhesive for. And this was the case that I came across. Now, if you guys can see in here, this is actually two pieces. There's two slots right here. And there's two dots right here that you just have to line this up. And you do have like this flexible kind of rubbery type material that's going to protect the hinge, and the front part snaps on. So there is no adhesive on here whatsoever. So if I were to take this and line it up and I put my case on the phone, it will snap on. And you just snap it around. There are some little cuts on the side of the case here, just for the fit part. And then this part wraps around. You close it on there and you go around. Then boom, now you have this case on this phone and it all makes sense. So now if we can focus here, if you look, you'll see the case goes around this material. So now if I want to switch to another case, hopefully I can find another one like this one in a different color, and I can switch out different cases. So if you guys want to pick up this case in particular, I will have a link down in the comment section. It'll go to Amazon and you can pick one up. I think there's a couple still floating around. I want to say this was 30 or 32 bucks. There's another case out there. I forget the name of it, but it's like $89. And sometimes I don't feel like paying that much for cases. I just want just a little bit of protection, and it really doesn't take up a whole lot of space. I can still protect the hinge here, and I've just been using, oh no. Okay, so that may happen sometimes. So there, you can see that on camera, but I guess I didn't have it on all the way. So let's make sure we are good. Now, when I go to open it, okay, cool. It's on there. So bam. If you guys want to pick that up down in the comment section, go ahead, click on it. And going back to the rest of the phone, the other thing about the whole aspect ratio of the phone and the way that you use it is I'm starting to get out of this whole mindset of looking at things and saying, I want this, and then trying to force that on a product. Now I'm looking at a product and I'm saying, okay, what is this meant for? How do I experience this product? The way I experience this is it is a phone and it is a tablet. Now, obviously that should be obvious, but I think a lot of us are trying to force the cover screen more on foldables when in all actuality, on the outside, it's a phone. So for stuff I need to do quickly, one-handed operations and stuff like that, this is bringing me back to that experience of when phones first came out, where they were basically just skinny devices. They were tall and skinny. We used them one-handed. We were sitting there doing T9 phone numbers and all that stuff. A lot of you young kids out here, this is before your time, so I'm showing my age here, but phones used to be one-handed. And as I started using this and using it as a phone, mixed with the smartphone capabilities, I'm like, all right, cool. I can do certain things on here and things kind of make sense. When I need to open it up, I can just open it up. I have my tablet, I have my full screen. Playing games is cool and everything like that. This isn't like a huge brick that's just in my pocket. It actually feels about the same weight as my iPhone 14 Pro Max. And to be honest, since I kind of carry two phones anyway, I kind of need a smaller phone, a smaller form factor. So this is working out for me. So like, I kind of get where Samsung is going with it. I kind of get where a lot of people from last year were trying to tell me like, hey, you don't get it. The Z Fold is like this. It's a different kind of phone. I'm understanding it now more than I did last year. And then, like I said, with the tablet part, it easily goes from just being a phone to bam, it's a whole tablet, vertical, horizontal, whichever way you want to put it. Um, One of the things that I really haven't had a super appreciation for, but I'm sure somebody out there loves it, is this inner under display camera. Like, yes, it adds to the whole aesthetic of you can't see it, but the can't. I'm sorry. The pictures on the inner display are not good, and they're definitely not $1,800 good. So I would rather they have just a hole punch in here just for the camera performance or whatnot. But I don't know. A lot of people like it, so that's just a little gripe of mine. But that's still how I feel about it. Yes, you can still hold it and turn on the cover screen and look at this and take a picture, but I'm sorry, like doing this to take a picture of yourself with the cameras feels weird. Also, I just really don't want to be having this wide open and let's say it falls or gets knocked out of my hand because life happens. I don't want this part of the display to like smack and hit the ground. However, I do have insurance on it for like $7 a month. So if you do pre-order this phone, I think you have until like the 11th to pre-order it. You can get Samsung Care insurance for $7.70. I've heard good things about Samsung Care. I've heard bad things about Samsung Care, but at $7.70, that is way cheaper than you're going to pay from any carrier or really any other insurance. So for something like this, I say get the insurance for it. But yeah, as far as the whole, oh, hey, here's a selfie thing. Let me take a picture. Yeah, not, I don't know. My thoughts may change on it, but like I said, within the first 24 hours, I just want to just take a picture with the cover screen. Just take it out, use this, take my photo, boom. Now, the other thing about the cover screen, this is probably going to be the last part, is that since the cover screen is as narrow as it is, it's a lot easier to hold and take a photo. A lot of times with other phones that are wider, like let's say for my iPhone example, right? Like this is wider. And so if your hand isn't as big, sometimes you got to like sit there and do thumb gymnastics to make sure that you're hitting that button on this phone. Whereas if you have a thinner cover display, like we do with this one, and I'll try and demonstrate it. Now my thumb is already there, so I don't have to move it as far as I did with my iPhone. So that's somewhat of a practical use. You guys can, I guess say it if it works for you, if it doesn't, but that's just a positive way of looking at it. The biggest gripe for me is still that it's $1,800, but looking at the competition of there's the Pixel Fold, it's in its first generation. Here's the Z Fold 5, it's in its fifth generation. I feel like I'm getting a better value personally out of this phone than I'm getting out of the Pixel Fold, but I still like that there's competition and that you really just don't have one choice, at least here in the US or whatnot. So you can go the Pixel Fold or you can go the Z Fold 5. However, I will say one of the things that really helped out with trying to get this phone is the super trade-in deals that we get in the US here. I know in the UK it sucks. I know in other places it sucks. I am purely talking from a US point of view. So after the discounts, after the trade-in, this came out to like $714. That's a deal no matter which way you slice it. I can live with certain things a little bit different. Does that kind of influence how I feel about the phone? I would say yes. And I would think that other people would feel the same way because price and what you get things for really opens the door for a lot of things. Like, for example, if somebody gave you the best steak of your life, and let's say this steak is normally $50, but you can get this steak for $14, you would probably forgive some stuff. Just like I'm probably forgiving some stuff about this phone. Versus if you pay the full price for something like I did with that Pixel Fold, where I paid full price. I paid every single cent. So yeah, for that amount of money, you feel kind of different about it. But when you're able to get a discount on something, when you're able to lower the cost of something and get into a device that you really weren't thinking about, but you actually tried it, it makes things different. So hopefully that doesn't cause you guys to look at me as like the super biased person. I'm actually just trying to relate to you guys just as customers, not as a tech reviewer, not as somebody that's saying, oh, Samsung's so much greater. It's just like, no, it's just the experience. If we were to reverse the situation and let's say Google came out with their phone and they gave me $1,000 for a Pixel 7 Pro and they gave me a military discount, you know, which I don't get with Google. If there's a military discount out there, somebody show me. I haven't seen it. If I get that discount and I got the Pixel Fold for $714 and I had to pay $1,900 for this, it would probably be a different situation. So basically to wrap this up, because all of my videos end up going super long anyway, first 24 hours, I'm happy with the phone. I'm enjoying the phone. I guess we can still call this the honeymoon phase. So I will continue to update you guys how I feel about the phone, how things progress. So stay tuned for future videos. And I didn't say this in my last video, but I'll start saying it again. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to the channel. Definitely we'll be talking about the Z Fold 5 and having a lot of content. So for those of you who recently subscribed, thank you. I appreciate it. Returning subscribers, new viewers, I appreciate you guys too. So, all right, y'all, take it easy. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.